Hey, what's up, girl? Thank you so much for watching. This is Coach Indy, and I want to talk about unmasking ADHD and binge eating, and also like depression and anxiety too, because like all of that stuff is super related to each other. And so I thought about this topic because I was literally just talking to my friend the other day about being a neurotypical person, having a neurotypical brain versus having a neurodivergent brain. And so if you are ADHD or on the spectrum in any sort of way, then, or if you struggle with binge eating, then this is going to be for you, or if you struggle with emotional eating. So I just want to like kind of take the hat off, take the mask off, if you will, and like completely unmask emotional eating and ADHD and depression and anxiety and how it's all interrelated, but also give you my top tips on how to avoid emotional eating because I've been there. A lot of my clients have been there, and a lot of them are successfully working through emotional eating. And so, drop a hashtag replay if you are watching this on replay. If you're here right now watching this live, then give me a hashtag I'm here so I can see you and say hi. So yeah, let's get started. Let's get into it. So um, I personally was like initially diagnosed with depression and ADHD when I was 16 years old, but like back then it wasn't called ADHD, it was called ADD. And like if you were like the hyper impulsive person, then you were ADHD. If you were like the person that I am, because there's types now of ADHD, like you can be a combination of impulsive and attentive. Um, or you can be the impulsivity type only, or you can be the inattentive type only. And so I'm mainly inattentive, like meaning like most of my stuff is not the impulsive stuff, which I do have some impulsivity, but it's mainly like not being able to focus and being super inattentive. So yeah, but I honestly didn't even believe the psychiatrist when he told me. I'm just like, okay, like I didn't believe it because like I grew up thinking that ADHD, you have to be hyper, you have to be like super impulsive, and like, you know, I had seen like the typical standard of what ADHD looked like, but I knew I wasn't that. But, you know, growing up and then later struggling in college and whatnot, then I was like, oh crap. Like, and then I would look back and I was like, oh my God, like now high school and everything else makes sense. But so there are some people that like get diagnosed later on in adulthood, and then they look back and they're like, oh my God, now my whole life makes sense. But if you are ADHD or you struggle with depression or anxiety, then that's going to affect your eating habits because your brain is wired differently. So, like I was talking to my friend yesterday, is that I was talking to her about how like I used to like try to pretend that I wasn't different. And I used to try to act so normal. Like I would study other people's behavior in order to try to appear normal. Like for instance, like socially, I would study like how people interact socially, and like I would um, just try to act like I like didn't have an issue as far as being ADHD. And so that's called masking, when you try to pretend like you're neurotypical and you're really not. You're really neurodivergent and you really have, you know, ADHD. And I learned as an adult that masking actually contributes to ADHD people getting depression and anxiety, because you are like all day trying to act like you're normal and trying to act like you're a neurotypical person when you're really not. So as an adult, like I'm just like, tell everybody I'm ADHD. This is what comes along with it. And oh shit, I totally forgot to press the live button. I totally forgot to press the live button on my Instagram camera. But yeah, so I don't even like try to mask anymore. Like that's the legit term for it, when you try to act normal. But anyways, the main point that I'm trying to make is that now, like the more I learn about ADHD, the more I learn that it literally affects all aspects of your life, even food. So you will try to because ADHD is a brain that's deficient and dopamine and the reward chemical, then you will try to get that dopamine in any way, shape, or form, which is why like addiction is super common with people that have ADHD. And that can include food addiction because you're trying to get that dopamine. That also includes drugs and alcohol as well. But for the purposes of me being a nutrition and fitness coach, I'm talking about food. So that can include like binge eating and trying to get your dopamine from binge eating. And I saw someone wave hi. But yeah, it could include binge eating, unfortunately. And that just means that, you know, for me, I have learned that if I buy 12 donuts, then that means that I'm going to eat 12 donuts. I just don't have the self control. So instead of trying to force myself to have self control, I have to like find other ways to instead just avoid the issue altogether, which means for me, like I tell my clients, like, don't buy a whole container of ice cream and bring it in the house. You know, go through the drive-through and get a single serving. And that might sound super crazy, like, oh, that's so expensive. Like you get the whole container of ice cream, the whole half gallon or gallon, whatever it is, for like $5 to $7. I don't even know how much it costs because I haven't bought one in forever. But you can just get the whole container for the same price as a single serving as when you go through the drive-through. But the point is that your health is worth it, because I know that I struggle with self-control, having ADHD and being impulsive and not having and I'm looking for that dopamine rush, and I'm just going to keep going and going and going no matter how full or stuffed that I am. Then it's worth it for my goals and just to um, get the single serving of food, because in the long run I know that like diabetes and hypertension and heart disease and all of those things run super, super strong in my family. And lifestyle factors is what pulls the trigger. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard the saying that your genes are like the bullets, but your lifestyle factors are what pull the trigger on um, the issues, the health issues that you're going to get um, as an adult. And so I really truly believe that, because as a certified nutrition and fitness coach that also works as a registered nurse, then I see it literally every single day of people that are dying of lifestyle factors. Of things that could have been prevented. And so that's part of the reason why I'm so passionate about the preventative end as well. And I love nursing, but you know, if I can prevent people from having to die an awful death of these lifestyle factors, then that's like the whole point of me being a fitness and nutrition coach. So Buying single servings, out of sight, out of mind is a huge one for me. So, but then also um, keeping the snacks out of sight. Also, you can reverse that as well. So, keeping healthy foods in sight also works really, really well for ADHD because people with ADHD have what's called object permanence. And so, when it's basically what babies have, and when like you like hide the toy from the baby, like this is the toy and you hide it and they're like, "Oh, it's gone." And then you show it to them again and they're like, "Oh, it's there again." And you hide it and they're like, "Oh, it's gone." So it's the exact same thing um as far as how ADHD brains are wired, which is really funny to me, but it literally works. Out of sight, out of mind. If the snacks or treats or whatnot are not in sight, then I honestly do literally forget that they're there. But at the same time, I also like, for instance, like I have this lovely bag of apples here. And like I just try to keep healthier foods in sight, and like have them out on the table, have fruit out on the table, like to have like when I open the fridge to have um things in clear containers, clear glass bowls, or just anything that I could see through, helps as far as when I see healthy options and I'm more prone to actually pick those things up and grab them when they're more convenient. Um, Other tips that can really help too is like buying things that are pre cut. Um, and that may seem expensive, but I'm telling you, it will save your health in the long run because with like being impulsive, being on the go, needing more convenient options, the less work that you have to put into something, the better it is in the long run. So, buying things that are more pre-cut helps me a lot. And so I feel like a lot of things need to be like normalized as far as um like doing things that may like seem like inconvenient or more expensive, but doing them in order to save you on like doctor bills and emergency visits and um getting diabetes, getting hypertension, having heart disease, strokes, heart attacks, what have you, in order to prevent those things from happening. But I honestly just wanted to, because I'm rambling at this point, but I honestly just wanted to shed a light on the fact that binge eating and ADHD are super connected. But then also, too, I want to touch on a little bit about like depression and anxiety and emotional eating are super interconnected, especially like the society that we grow up in. It's super common to just like take our feelings out on food. If you've ever taken your feelings out on food, then raise your hand for me. I know I have. Whether it's just like boredom or nervousness, um, then I feel like it's super easy to do. And so, what I teach my clients is like healthier ways to deal with their feelings. And there's even like a mental health coach that I will refer my clients to because taking care of your mental health is more important, in my opinion, than anything else, even over your fitness journey, in my opinion, because you can't even do your fitness journey if everything's not going straight up here. So I hope this helps. I hope that keeping healthier foods in sight, keeping your snacky snacks out of sight. If you're ADHD and have object permanence like I do, um, you know, buying the single serving of if you want ice cream, if you want X, Y, and Z treat, that's totally okay to treat yourself in moderation and have the fun foods, but just have them in the smaller portions if you struggle with self-control like I do. And I just like completely own it. I like own the fact that I struggle with self-control and being impulsive with food and not being able to stop. If I see 12 donuts, I'm going to eat 12 donuts. But I try to fight that in other ways. So, but then also like make sure that you reach out for help if you struggle with any of the things that I'm talking about. And feel like there might have been one other point. Also, dealing with your feelings in healthy ways and just learning to sit with your feelings without having to use food to cheer yourself up or um, just being sad and having to take your feelings out on food, or being anxious and taking your feelings out on food, or being bored, or any of the following feelings. So if this was helpful, impactful, make sure that you drop a heart if you got some type of takeaway from this. Excuse me. Oh, losing my voice, so I had to get some water. Sorry. But yeah, give me a heart if you got a takeaway from this. And as always, it is faith, consistency, and hard work that's going to get you to your goals. And I hope that you guys have an awesome night. I'm going to bed here soon. So, all right. Talk to you guys later on the next live tomorrow. Bye.